Hi, my name is Dave Schirmacher. I am Chief Strategy Officer of FieldView Solutions. FieldView is a software company that manufactures software to help data center managers become more efficient. So as a data center, it kind of falls under the category of DCIM, or Data Center Infrastructure Management.
So maybe you could give us an overview of the product, show us a few things that it does, and help our readers understand FieldView.
Sure. And before I get into the product specifically, what I'd like to talk a little about is what you don't see. FieldView is based on a very powerful back-end database. Because when you talk about data center infrastructure management, you're really talking about large quantities of data. Everything ranging from asset management through mechanical and electrical infrastructure through financial information.
Right.
These are large quantities of data that have to be looked at quite rapidly, and it generates quite a bit of data to actually drive performance. What FieldView does is pull that data through a very unique polling system that can poll through all the different types of systems that might be available in the data center, brings it to a data warehouse, and then provides the business intelligence, puts analytics against that, and then provides multiple views to the various types of people who operate data centers, whether you're on the technology side of the house, or whether you're on the facility side of the house, or whether you're on the management side of the house.
So you can customize views for each set.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So, the core of FieldView is typically installed on the corporate network. It is designed to live on a highly secured network, using a database platform that is very consistent with what the large corporations use for other types of data management. And so what we do here, and I'll give you a little view here of how we access this data.
Sure.
So as you see here on the screen, when you open up FieldView, you get to a global view of all of the information for all of your sites within the U.S. And you know that because you're at the U.S. level, and therefore the program automatically rolls up what might be billions of records of information to produce this information. So let me go back to the U.S. and I'll continue the drill down. We'll drill down, in this case, to the state level. We'll go to New Jersey. And again, if you ran a report here, it would be for all of your locations in New Jersey. I'll further drill down. There's only, in this case, one site in this demo. And now we're at the location level. And again, you see this here, we're in the U.S., the globe, U.S., New Jersey, and a site. And in this particular site, there's one floor, and we'll get to this site here a little bit later. I'm going to drill down to the floor, and you notice there are two sites, and two data center spaces on this floor, and I'm going to drill down to kind of the main viewing screen of a data field, what we call a data field. Now, on this screen, you're looking at quite a bit of information. This is on a screen of this type. You might be looking actually at anywhere from 5,000 to 25,000 different points and conditions, all rolled up for easy viewing on this screen. We can certainly drill down, and I'll show you how to do that. But right now, I'll point out a couple of elements. You'll see the racks, the rack layout, and around each rack you'll see a green outer box and a little blue box of varying sizes. The blue boxes you notice around, some are smaller, some are larger. The blue box and the size of the blue box is directly related to how much load, from a percentage perspective, that happens to be residing in the cabinet. So if you just look at this screen without clicking on anything else, you can kind of sense from the size of the blue boxes how much load is in the room. You can see where there's pockets of capacity and pockets of space. If you mouse over a blue box, and apologies, this mouse is kind of acting erratically, it'll give you the actual real load. In this case, it's at 68%, and there was, let me just do that again, there was 4,081 watts running live in this. So when you look at the blue boxes here, the blue boxes represent a relative loading of the cabinet as measured by real live data. The small blue boxes, and I'll roll over this one, show that there's fairly low loading in the cabinet. As I roll over it, you see that there's 14% of load in this cabinet, or 889 watts. And as you go to the larger ones, you see that this one in this case is 66% loaded. these are set based on the specific rack. So if you have a lower density rack, and you're at, or a higher density rack, the percentage of load is directly related to the actual capacity of the specific rack. So just by looking at this screen, you get a sense of the overall load within the program. The green box around the cabinet is basically an alarm indicator. You'll notice that most of this on this screen, most of the boxes are green, but we have a couple of flashing alarm conditions.
Right.
Over here on the right, we have a red one. What that means is that there may be several circuits that are feeding power to this cabinet. It means at least one of them is overloaded. And let me click on this, and it'll bring us down to a cabinet page, and you'll notice one of the circuits, the A circuit here, is actually running at 12.3 amps on a 15 amp circuit. That's over 80%. So that's the alarm condition that's being flagged on that prior page. Now you'll notice on this screen, anywhere where there's a bar, there's a green bar over here, there's a red bar over here, anywhere where there's a bar, if you actually click on the bar, it pulls up a trend box. FieldView continuously monitors every single point within your data center, essentially forever. You don't have to set up trends beforehand. It is continuously monitoring everything as soon as it goes live. So I'm just going to leave the default. This is a 6-hour period of today. You can pick the window of time you want to record or want to display, 5-minute intervals, 15 intervals, all the way down to 1 minute, all the way up to 1 month, because you can go back multiple years if you have that data within there. And then whether you want to see the average, the minimum, or the maximum. So I'm just going to pull this report, and here again, we show the trend over time for that particular point, and you kind of can do the diagnostics of when this circuit may well have gone to a point where it's overloaded. So I'll go back to the room. And so now you get a good sense of alarm conditions. Here we have crack units. You notice the little green icon there. That shows you that you're in good shape there. Right. If I were to click on that, it takes me down to a screen that shows the status of the various elements of the crack unit. I'll go back up. Same thing. Oop, let me go. Here we go. Or I can go to a PDU directly, and I can pull up a panel that shows all of the circuits within the panel. And so let me go back again to the room. And I should probably let me make a note of this. I mentioned the red alarm.
Right.
There's an orange alarm. An orange alarm is what we call a team alarm. And let me click on this cabinet. And what you'll notice here is that, see the little flashing orange and the flashing orange. There's 8.3 amps on this 20 amp circuit, and there's 7.9 amps on this 20 amp circuit. These two together represent the total load in the cabinet. What's happening here, though, is either of these circuits are fine for now, but if this circuit were to fail and the load were to shift over to this side, that would go past the 80% rating of this breaker. So when you have a team alarm, what it's basically saying is you've lost resilience within your system. You don't have an immediate problem, but if you have a secondary failure, you could potentially trip a breaker. So FieldView is constantly monitoring all of that information to ensure that not only that there are no alarms present that could trip immediately, but also managing your resiliency. And that goes for circuits all the way up through the entire power path and the mechanical path. It's checking resilience, it's checking load to make sure that if in fact you do have a failure and loads swing, that the infrastructure actually can handle, the remaining infrastructure can handle the load without having a power disruption or a business disruption. So I'm going to go back to the room view again. And as I said, so depending on whether you're monitoring just the branch circuits going to the cabinet, or you may well actually be monitoring every plug. As I said, you might be looking at 5 or 10,000 points. You might be looking at 25 or 30,000 points in a data center or data field of this size. Let me show you this other tab here, which is a heat map, and you'll see as it builds. This is now real-time temperature information interlaced with the power load data, so you can actually look at areas clearly from the scale here, red is warm and the blue is cool area. So you can look at this area, for example, and notice that the temperature is quite cool, probably as low as 72, 73 degrees, despite the fact that you do have probably some significant load here. But you also might notice some areas that are a little bit more red, like for instance up here, and associated with load. So it kind of, again, gives you a view of both power level and the temperatures associated with your data field. So that powerful function that gives you a real-time view of temperature, the different types of temperatures that might be in the hot aisle, the cold aisle, the spread of temperature across the field, and then also gives you a view of the load within the cabinets that might be impacting that temperature. I'll do real quickly here a report of this room. So let's see, I'll just pick the cabinet summary. Now again, as I mentioned earlier, the program always knows where you are. So if you look at this top right, it sees I went all the way from the world down to the room level. So when I click on a report here, it knows that I am in a room and I therefore must be looking for a report specific to the room. So I just clicked on that. Now we're operating the program live here on a small laptop. It's really an enterprise application, so there's usually a little bit of delay because it's churning through a huge amount of information. But here we have a report, and as you see up here, the report knew to drill down to the location and to the room. So now we're looking at all of the cabinets within the room as we scroll up. And in this particular report, we're showing the cabinets, the PDUs feeding the cabinet, the PDU circuits, I should say the PDU circuit panels that are feeding this, and then a variety of information as you scroll across the report specific to the cabinet. So that's how the reporting function works. As I said, FieldView comes day one with a whole series of reports, but certainly if you wanted a custom report, we can easily apply that, and that would then appear in that menu. I'll do a couple of metric screens here. So let's see here, I'll do a power cooling capacity dashboard. And again, we were at the room level, so again, this dashboard is specific to that room. If we went up a level to the site, or went up a level again to the state or to the region, this would repopulate with information based on the roll-up of all of the sites under that level. Let me pick another dashboard here, and again, here in this particular case, we have a rack cooling index. This is kind of a measure of how effectively you use cooling within the space. So this is again specific to to that particular room that we were looking at. And with that, as I said, there's a series of dashboards that we can look at, but kind of that kind of summarizes. Now we can get very deep here into a large feature set. One of the things that we also talk about is how easy and hopefully you'll see from this brief demo how easy it is to navigate through large quantities of information. But one thing that is also very that our users also appreciate very much is how easy it is to make changes. In the data floor environment, it is not uncommon to continuously add circuits, delete circuits, move circuits. FieldView allows users to very quickly click on a circuit in the panel or click on a cabinet to get to a circuit, add a circuit by just dropping down a few boxes, and as soon as you hit submit, the graphics, all the reports, all the way up to the globe, all update with the new information. So that's pretty much a quick view of FieldView.
And if our readers are interested in more information, where can they learn more about FieldView?
Well, you can find FieldView's website at FieldViewSolutions.com, and on there you'll find my contact information and certainly the contact information of the firm. And we'd love to arrange a demo for you if you like. We typically do our first demos over webinars, so even if you're not in the local area, or if we can't make it out to your site, we can certainly do a demo for you locally, or I should say, through a webinar.
Okay, Dave, listen, thanks so much for giving us an overview of FieldView.
Thank you very much, Rich. Appreciate it.